Hello, folks, and welcome to Author Adjacent, a show about the journey from hobbyist writer to professional author. I'm your host, Michael Vadney, and today we're going to take a break from the interviews and do a book review. As an adjacent author, it is important for us to read and analyze other people's work to better understand how we can effectively execute badass moments and those delicious twists in our own writing. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and I want to do more, so here we are. Thank you for joining me. For this episode, I'll be diving into a trilogy that's been quietly blowing minds, the Paternus Trilogy by Dyrk Ashton. This series follows Fi and Zeke as they are pulled from the modern world into the hidden realm of the gods, as they try to keep up with this brewing conflict. If you like your fantasy soaked in myth, stuffed with gods, and packed with cinematic action, stick around because this series is not going to hold back. Let's start with book 1 of the Paternus Trilogy, Paternus Rise of the Gods. This is the trilogy's opening act and it hits the ground running. Imagine American Gods if Neil Gaiman cranked up the chaos and let the gods duke it out as humans scramble to keep up. This book doesn't spoon-feed anything. In fact, one of its biggest strengths is how it delays answers. Just when you think you're going to get some clarity, boom! Something explodes, someone gets attacked, and you're pulled deeper into the madness. The narrative jumps between characters a lot. There's definitely some head hopping happening here, but Ashton handles it with surprising finesse. It adds depth and not confusion. You get a broader, richer sense of the world and its players without losing a thread. That said, its pacing does stumble a bit towards the end. When you finally do get answers to what the heck is going on around here, the lore dump is heavy. Not bad, just dense. It's like Ashton was holding back for so long and released the floodgates all at once. And while the ending doesn't resolve much, as this is clearly the first act of a much bigger story, it does plant the seed for something much bigger. As for score, I gave this a 4 out of 5. It's wild, it's weird, it's ambitious, and it makes you want to keep reading, which to me, that's a huge success. Now on to book 2, Paternus Wrath of the Gods. This book shifts gears. This one is a mythic mayhem on overdrive. If Rise of Gods is the fuse, then Wrath is the fireworks streaking across the sky. Ashton throws everything into this one: pantheons, monsters, mythologies you've never even heard of. And he does it with style. And it's exhilarating. But here's the thing, this book feels like a bridge. A very epic bridge, sure, but still a setup for what is coming next. The plot doesn't move quite as tightly. You'll feel the weight of all of that lore. So if you're the kind of reader that really loves those juicy backstories, you'll be in heaven. But if you want a tighter, cleaner narrative, you might find yourself treading water now and then, waiting for the next big moment to happen. But the action is slick, the prose crackles, and the character growth, especially with Fi and Zeke, really starts to take off in this one. Ashton's enthusiasm for all of this is infectious. Even when the pacing sags a little bit, the energy never really drops. So what's my score for the second book in the Paternus Trilogy? I did have to drop this one down to a 3 out of 5. It's a necessary gear up for the big finale with flashes of brilliance and loads of potential, but a lot of the weaknesses from the first book were emphasized in the second. And now, the big finish, Paternus, War of the Gods. Let me just say, Ashton sticks the landing. The final book is a beast, massive in scope, emotionally resonant, and somehow, it's the most character-driven of the trilogy. The first half of War of the Gods simmers. It layers in tension, a bit of cheeky humor, and sets the stage for the rest of the book. And the second half hits like Ashton took his gloves off. We get this multi-stage battle that rivals anything from the Wheel of Time or the Stormlight Archives, but tighter, leaner, and somehow more personal. Flashbacks are used sparingly and effectively in this one. Fights feel earned and the characters change. They rise, they fall, and some don't make it out. There's weight behind every choice, every loss, every victory. And shout out to the Petite Gods, such a bizarre and wonderful addition to this book series. They add flavor without tipping the balance. You all belong to Odin. Yes, there is a bit of a lore repetition, but by book 3, this honestly feels more like a welcome refresher. And the final reveal, in retrospective, enhances the whole journey. Once you finish reading, go back, look at the cover, and you'll see what I mean. What's my score for War of Gods? Definitely back up to a 4 out of 5 on this one. It is a fiery, furious finale. That's everything the series promised to be, and then some. The Paternus Trilogy is not really your typical urban fantasy. It's big, it's strange, it's myth-soaked, and unapologetically ambitious. Ashton plays with narrative conventions, blends mythologies like he's a DJ with 100 turntables, and somehow makes it all mostly work despite all the rules he's breaking. It's not flawless. The pacing wobbles, the info dumps occasionally flood the story, but the heart is undeniable. The scope is massive, and by the end, you'll feel like you've been through something that is truly epic. If you're into mythic mashups, gods on the move, or just want a modern fantasy that breaks the mold, read this trilogy. You won't regret it. All right, folks, that is going to be it for this episode of Author Adjacent. If you've read the Paternus Trilogy, let me know what your thoughts are. Comment below, at me on the socials, yell at the gods on my behalf. And if you enjoyed this review, leave me a like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more deep dives into books and author interviews. Until next time, let's be Author Adjacent together.